Okay, great. All right, diving right in. I see I am live. Hopefully, I don't have to mute anything here. I think this is good. Okay, so making your thinking visible when delegating a decision area and using AI as a collaborator are the two key shifts in my own thinking that came about when enabling leaders um, um, when I've been enabling leaders delegate in the past 2 years or so, and also as I created this micro course called the Delegation Reset in the past 2 months. And that is what I really want to share with you today, is basically those two key shifts, right, that I'm talking about. One is making your thinking visible as a leader, and second, using AI as a collaborator. So a question that I keep coming back to is, how do we build teams that think, that decide, and move work forward with a lot of confidence? Because today, the more and more that I explore delegation through the lenses of discernment, ownership, visible thinking, AI collaboration, I see more and more the need for a shift in mindset from delegating tasks and work and authority and trust that originally delegation really has meant to a lot of leaders. Move that towards making your thinking visible, and we'll talk about what that means. Moving that towards clarifying your own assumptions as leaders, making the move towards creating thinkers and not just followers, co-creating with the people that you are delegating to, also building team capability and not just individual capability, but building shared team capability. Because essentially, what we want to ask as a question is, how can the team think when I, as a leader, am absent, right? I'm not going to be omnipresent, and I have better things to do too. So how can the team think and continue to move that forward when I, as a leader, am really not present there? So the most impactful shift for me has been in how leaders can make their thinking visible to those that they are delegating to. It could be an individual person, it could be a whole team, it could be a vendor, whatever that context. But really, if you think, people and teams, they learn the judgment of a leader by understanding the thinking of that leader, right? What's happening in the mind of the leader, which could mean for a certain decision area that is being delegated and talked about, the leader should be able to share not just, hey, this is the context and this is what I'm delegating to, and this is how we are going to do this from tomorrow. But really, what trade-offs in that context do I, as a leader, know, or am I aware of, that I should make aware to people who I'm delegating that to? What signals do I generally watch out for when I do that piece of work, right? Could be positive signals, could be negative signals too. What political dynamics do I see? Maybe there is a lot of political context around it, corporate, in organizational politics, department politics, stakeholder political dynamics, whatever that context is. What does success look like to me as a leader in that context? What matters the most to me? Maybe it is the approval or the yes from a certain specific stakeholder. But and could be so much more depending on the context that you are delegating. But essentially, all of that needs to be made visible to the person that you're delegating to, or to the team that you're delegating to. Because once they understand that thinking that's going on only in your head, the assumptions that only you know in your head, will they be able to understand why you made certain decisions for that kind of a decision area when you were driving that decision area? But now, because they are going to be delegated that decision area, they'll even come back and ask you the right questions or the wrong ones. But at least they won't be able to then say that, oh, we don't get it, right? Because you've pretty much told them almost everything. Of course, there might still be something that you miss out, but that's just human, right? We go with that. So make that thinking of yours visible to your team. Many ways of doing it, whether you do that creating a mind map, or sit down with the team, make co-create a delegation canvas. But let's remember, the canvas is not set of boxes. It's whatever matters to you in a context. You can start with the template, but don't make that like the go-to all the time, that this is a box that we need to fill, right? Make it a go-to for a conversation you want to revisit. It's a live document that you can create. So, but you decide in your context with the people that you're delegating to what that should be. So that's the first shift, make your thinking visible. Now, I also want to share a short story to land into the second shift where which I say is use AI as a collaborator. And of course, I've not been using AI like very like a whole bunch of things, but this is where I was using AI with the clients. And just a week or two ago, I was working with a group of leaders where we were exploring two conversations with AI around a particular decision area in their context. And the first one was basically to unpack a certain decision area, which I don't want to get into right now because that's just simply unpacking a decision area. But the second conversation was more to get to make this thinking of the leaders visible. And we used a certain prompt, and I want to just go through that prompt and talk about that particular prompt. I'll just read that prompt out. Yeah. So we started with something like, I want to delegate this decision area, gave what that decision area is. And then we said, let's briefly describe the context. So we described what the context was, but then we said, okay, interview me as in the leader sitting at the laptop and talking to AI, interview me one question at a time to uncover any warning signs for this decision area, what trade-offs I usually make, what I pay attention to, how I currently think, principles I follow, my view of current stakeholder dynamics. So you see where this is heading, right? And then, of course, the last piece that we gave in the prompt was, once you have finished interviewing me, one question at a time, organize my thinking into a visual mind map. Now, this is like a nice step-by-step way of interviewing the leader. But what happened in this more than the interview itself is it unleashed thinking from the leaders. And they actually started thinking, oh, wow, there were so many assumptions that we weren't ourselves clear about. And responding to one question actually gave them more inputs that, oh, you know what, I should also tell this person this XYZ context about this decision area. And they just, it opened up even more points that they wanted to share, more assumptions, because really assumptions are where we think from, not just leaders, but we as human beings, we all think from assumptions. So what doing this collaboration with AI revealed was not, it didn't really replace the leader's judgment, but it surfaced more things. Oh, I'm just checking. I think this screen got locked. Yeah, okay. The go live is on. For some reason, I think it's frozen, but if anybody finds it frozen, please type in chat if I'm, if somebody's watching this conversation live. So I'm not so sure. I'm just going to refresh this screen because everything seems frozen to me here. Just hang in there. Why would it do this? Okay, I'm not so sure now if anything is happening here. Let me just see. Okay, I think it's on. It's live. Where was I? Yeah, I was talking about the second shift, right? Yeah. So AI, collaborating with AI, that did not really replace the leader's judgment. It just helped reveal a little more of it. So the point that I'm trying to make is, again, even with this second shift, is using AI as a collaborator, they were able to make their thinking visible in a much better way. A lot of times leaders get stuck thinking, oh, even if I delegate, this person's going to come back to me and say, oh, I don't get it, or I'm not able to do this. I mean, there are 10,000 excuses that we can all come up with. But guess what started to how do I frame it? What started to unfold now with the more and more that I've been exploring delegation with leaders, coaching and mentoring them on topics around delegation is the challenge is not in people coming back with a question because they don't know it. It's more that we as leaders haven't shared the context. We think we have, but we've really not opened up our own decision making approach, if I can call it that. But basically, we haven't really made our thinking visible to people who we are delegating that certain decision area to. So yeah, I mean, it's really important to do these two things, make your thinking visible and try and use AI as a collaborator to enable more of that thinking. So for today, I just want to share and leave you with these two key shifts as learning nuggets. Yes, my micro course, which I'm calling the Delegation Reset, focuses on building thinking teams that can move work forward, think, act, and decide, and move work forward without the leader becoming the bottleneck. It's a micro course of not more than 20 minutes and essentially looks at what good and great delegation is, and it brings to life how you can make your thinking visible. I also share the delegation canvas that I generally use with leaders in my own sessions, but use that as a template or use any other approach. It's totally open. And then you get to co-create a delegation canvas. And of course, what comes along with this course is 6 months of Lean Coffee, where you can come in as a community and ask questions, through a Lean Coffee. So yeah, that's included. And when my booklet on build thinking teams, the delegation reset is out, of course, you get a copy of that too at a special price. So let's shift the way we look at delegation. It's not about handing off work, but really it's about building teams that can think, action, decide, and essentially think without you, and build their own capability that just grows, with you delegating more and more to them. So that's it for today. Just these two key learning nuggets. I'm hoping I can continue to bring this to life every 2 weeks, if not weekly. Hopefully my health stays along. And I look forward to see you again soon. Thank you and bye for now.